everybody, this is Cheryl, and we're here at YarnWorks for our November class, and we're going to crochet a V-stitch scarf. The instructions, you'll notice, have the scarf, and then down below is the pocket. So we'll take a look at the scarf in a few minutes, and I'll show you about doing pockets. But I'll start crocheting with the pocket because it'll be less, not as long, and it's the same thing. You're just going to be chaining less to start with. So to begin, just really quickly, the way I hold my yarn is between your little and ring fingers, down and around, up in between your ring finger and your middle finger, down and then around your index finger. You're actually, as you go, it's very, very awkward. I understand that to start. This is not a do or die. People hold them, oh my gosh, I've seen so many different ways, but this was when I started crocheting, this was the only way people were taught to hold it. And my little finger actually controls the tension. It's pretty interesting, but it really does the job. So you're going to want to leave a long tail if you're going to be sewing your pocket to your scarf. So we'll leave that long tail there. You don't have to measure it exactly. I said 12 to 14, but you can do. So we'll start with a slip knot, and that is just simply twisting the hook and holding on to it with your fingers, yarning over and pulling through, and there you have your slip knot. Another way is to do it by hand, where you just actually make a ring around your fingers and then poke the loop through and pull it tight. Same thing, exactly the same thing, just a slip knot. So we want to chain 29 for our scarf. Yarn, excuse me, let me go slow. Yarn over, hook, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, and we just continue 29 times. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. There's your 29 chains. Now you could adjust this size more narrow or larger, but you would need to make multiples of 3, I believe. And what we're gonna, this is the 29 chains is here. So row 1 in the 5th chain from your hook, make a double crochet, a chain 1, and a double crochet. Don't count the loop on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we make a double crochet right there. And I will say those out loud for the next one. Double crochet, chain 1, and then a double crochet. And a double crochet is yarn over, go into the loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. That's a double crochet, and this is your first V-stitch. So all the way across, we're going to skip the next chain And in the second chain away, we're going to make a double crochet, which is yarn over, go into the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Chain 1, a double crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the second 2 loops. There's your second V-stitch. I think probably the most used stitch is the double crochet. It's fast. It makes the stitches taller. It goes quicker. So again, we're skip 1 chain. In the second chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Chain 1, yarn over, go into the loop, go into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the second 2. So we're going to do this all the way across and just continue. I'll do maybe 2 more and then we'll just meet up at the end. So you skip 1 chain, yarn over, go into the chain, pull up a loop. And you notice I'm pulling those loops up to the height of the other. See how they're all pulled up so they're the same height. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the second 2 loops, chain 1, yarn over, go into the chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So you can back that up if you need to watch those again, but it's simply that way all the way across. So I'll meet you just a few minutes at the end and we'll do the last one and then make our turnaround. We're down to the last few stitches, but I forgot to do something that I'm always telling you, do not forget, which was to put a stitch marker in my first stitch. When we started where we just chained into, or started in the 5th chain from the hook, that loop is from the first double crochet, so this loop is your first stitch in the round. So when you come back, that's the last stitch. Apologies for forgetting that. So we're down to the last, there are 4 stitches left, so we skip a chain and then double crochet, chain 1 and double crochet for our last V-stitch. Then we skip 1 chain and double crochet in the last stitch, which is to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the second 2, and your row, that's your first row. We're going to turn immediately, but that is my first stitch of the row right there. You chain 3, and work into your first V-stitch, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So you did a V-stitch in the V-stitch. And what I'm going to do is mark the first stitch. When you do your chain 3 and turn, the top or first chain, first stitch in this row. So you've done the double crochet, which is chain 3 standing in for a double crochet, and your first V-stitch. So now we're just going to go across and make a V-stitch in each of the V-stitches. Very simple. We'll do a couple out loud, and then I'll let you go and meet you up in a bit. There's no chains in between these V-stitches. You just simply V-stitch all the way across. I don't know if you'll notice, I use my fingers and hands to hold the material a lot. It really helps. You'll develop your very own way of doing this. So nothing I'm showing you as far as holding the yarn or how you wrap the yarn is set in stone. It's whatever works best for you. And I'm doing the double crochets. Chain 1, double crochet all the way across. So we'll do this row, and then I think we can let you work on this in your own time, and we'll go on to doing the pocket. Down, getting to the end of our second row, you make a V-stitch in the very last V-stitch. And then we want to double crochet in the last stitch. So we've got our marker there. We don't have to worry about thinking about where that stitch is. This here is the last double crochet of the V-stitch, so that's not your last stitch. This top of this chain 3 is double crochet, you yarn over, go in the loop, pull up a hook, go in the chain stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You're finished with that. You chain 3, 2, 3, turn, and just start right back in again with your V-stitches back across the row. So as soon as you finish that first V-stitch, put down your hook and mark your last stitch. You'll get used to being able to tell where that last stitch is, but there are some patterns in variations of stitches that makes it difficult even for a very seasoned crocheter to know where to put that last stitch. So stitch markers are extremely helpful. You want to do that. So you continue that for the length that you want your scarf to be. Pocket. You can do the pocket in any stitch or size that you choose. I wrote it for a simple double crochet. We could have done it in a V-stitch to match, but I think with the openings, the way they were, your pocket, if we lined it up, you know, I thought maybe a little more solid material would probably work better. So we're going to chain 19. We make our slip knot and chain 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We're going to do simple double crochets all the way back and forth as wide and as tall as you want it. So if you wanted to make a wider one, you would just chain a few more. If you want it slimmer, chain a few less. But what the directions are is to, in the 4th chain from the hook, make a double crochet. So not counting the one on the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the second 2 loops. There's your double crochet. So you actually have 2. this beginning counts as 1. The beginning chain counts as 1. There are times it doesn't, but the designer will tell you whether it does or does not. So we put a stitch marker in there, help us figure out where to go when we come back. And we're just simply going to make double crochets all the way across. Pocket. You can do the pocket in any stitch or size that you choose. I wrote it for a simple double crochet. We could have done it in a V-stitch to match, but I think with the openings, the way they were, your pocket, if we lined it up, you know, I thought maybe a little more solid material would probably work better. So we're going to chain 19. We make our slip knot and chain 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We're going to do simple double crochets all the way back and forth, as wide and as tall as you want it. So if you wanted to make a wider one, you would just chain a few more. If you want it slimmer, chain a few less. But what the directions are is to, in the 4th chain from the hook, make a double crochet. So not counting the one on the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the second 2 loops. There's your double crochet. So you actually have 2. This beginning counts as 1. The beginning chain counts as 1. There are times it doesn't, but the designer will tell you whether it does or does not. So we put a stitch marker in there, help us figure out where to go when we come back. And we're just simply going to make double crochets all the way across. So we've just got a few stitches left, or a few chains left to get our stitches in. And going all the way to the end, the very last, and a double crochet. Chain 3 and turn. That counts as our first stitch, so we don't crochet, we don't put a double crochet in there, that chain 3. And the reason that there's a chain 3, or for different stitches, a single crochet, a double crochet, a half double crochet, or a treble crochet, you chain different amounts each time. That is to get you to the height of the stitch that you're going to be using. That's why those chains are there, to help you get turned around, to get you up to the right height. So we want to go into the second one, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. Let's mark our first stitch. So you can tell this is the top of the double crochet, so that's the 3rd chain in those chain 3s. That'll be our last stitch when we come back. Just continue double crocheting all the way across the row. About to finish our last stitches in row 2. We make a double crochet in the top of the last double crochet. And then we'll make a double crochet in the last stitch, which is where our marker is. You can take the marker out first and put your stitch in, or you can leave it in there. That's totally up to you. Double crochet, chain 3 and turn, and that's the whole thing. Just keep going until your pocket is the size you would like it to be. So I'm going to show you several ways that pockets can be added. I'll set aside this. This is the V-stitch scarf I'm working on, and this was the other choice, but the pockets it wouldn't make any difference on either one. Three ways, or there are probably more, but there are a lot of ways you can do pockets. The double crochet scarf, which is just simply double crochets all the way through. The pocket on that is made by simply folding up the bottom of the scarf. You crochet it longer than you would, want it. Give yourself plenty of room for your pocket, and then you just fold it up. Pin it in place. I would do a better job of making sure I count the rows and make sure they're both even. Pin it in place, and then you're just simply going to do a whip stitch down the sides, and you have a pocket. There are sizes that I will have Shelby print and give you copies of scarf lengths that are recommended and how you decide. It's something like they use a formula, but really it's just what a person likes. But you do want to try your scarf on and make sure that it's about, the right length for your hands to go in. And you want to reinforce the edges really well so you're not putting a lot of pressure on them. That's one way to do a scarf. The other way is to do our double crochet pocket that we're making for our V-stitch scarf. And then you just lay it on and sew it. Same thing, you'll just do the blanket stitch all the way around. Another way I have seen scarves done, yes, it's like this. So you actually, I can't think which way that should go. Yeah, do that way. It's done where you're got kind of a little scarf down there, but it's done at an angle. One I particularly like too is you do the square for your pocket, and then do a little rectangle here, and then sew that in where you've got a nicer, it's a little nicer pocket, a little fancier. You can put a decorative button on it or whatever, but easy peasy pockets on the pocket scarves.
If you're putting it on the V-stitch though?
The V-stitch, to have a pocket, we could do one in V stitches and they would line up.
Could you put the double crochet pocket on there?
That's what I wrote for this particular pattern, because I thought with all the openness, it would probably be better to have one that's a little wider. So you would just simply place your pocket on there and whip stitch it on.
It doesn't have to line up in any
the only lining it up is, you see there's the edge and 2 V's, edge and 2 V's, and then put it. But if you like it, your pockets, so
it can go anywhere within
it's just a personal preference, yeah. And if you want to, you can make that little edge come up. And the folded ones, I have seen some that are folded that start like the folds are way up here, and they really do look pretty cool. They look like they're pretty cool scarves. I've not done one personally, but I think that's a pretty neat way of doing it. And this one here, it doesn't get any simpler than folding up the bottom and creating yourself a pocket. These pockets, you you know, it's not gonna hold bricks or anything, that's for sure, but it'll help keep your hands warm when you're outside. And if you don't have a pair of gloves, really quick, you can have your pocket scarf. Scarves are literally the length that you want them to be. There's no right or wrong. And